last time.
Hostiles detected nearby.
Watch out. That refinery's falling apart. Have to land somewhere. Avoid the impact areas.
Too powerful.
Yeah, you're right.
What's up, agents? Welcome back to the channel. It's Dwerewolf Gaming back in action. And today, agents, I'm excited to showcase a build that is not only powerful, but has amazing survivability as well. So if you enjoy builds, agents, where you can dish out amazing damage, on top of that, survive most content in this game, then stick around because this is the build for you. Alright, so today's build is all about raw, amplified power, and non-stop survivability. And it starts with one of the most dangerous combos in Division 2. That's right, agents. We're going to be utilizing the Sacrifice chest and pairing this with Preservation, the Striker's gear set, and the Memento backpack. So, if you're new to this game and you don't know what the Sacrifice chest does, agents, well, let me break it down. This chest gives you up to 30% increase in amplified damage, which is one of the most strongest multipliers in the entire game because it boosts all the damage you deal after all the other calculations have occurred. It's not, and keep in mind, agents, this isn't additive damage, this is multiplicative damage. When you mix that with Striker's stacking weapon damage, you're hitting enemies with layer on layer of firepower that melts legendary content. Now add the Preservation talent, and every kill gives you bonus armor that keeps you alive even when you're stacking Strikers and sprinting into fights. This means you're constantly regenerating armor, constantly dealing damage, and constantly staying aggressive. And the secret sauce is the Memento backpack. You're getting long-term damage, armor regeneration, and skill efficiency all in one package. As you collect trophies, your amplified chest piece gets even stronger, your Preservation stays active longer, and your Striker stats stay maxed out far more consistently. Put it all together, and you've got a build that hits like a truck, heals like a tank, and scales harder the longer the fight goes on. This is one of the best damage plus survivability synergies in Division 2 right now. Alright, agents, so as I just stated, we're going to be utilizing a chest piece that, most people are kind of stay away from because of the talent that comes with a chest piece. Basically, it gives you 30% increase in amplified damage, but keep in mind, you will take 60% increase in amplified damage as well. But in order to balance this out, agents, we have one of the best exotics in the game equipped right now, in my opinion, and that is the Memento backpack, because that backpack, agents, what it does is it basically gives you an armor core, gives you a weapon damage core, and a skill tier. So you got armor regeneration taking place, bonus weapon damage, and skill efficiency. If you aren't familiar with skill efficiency, what that does, basically, agents, it allows you to use your skills more often because you're going to be getting them back faster, and basically overall improves them. The weapon damage, it boosts that up by 30% when you have 30 trophies. And on top of that, agents, you get bonus armor that scales with the number of cores you have on your build. Alright, agents, so if this sounds like something you enjoy, stick around. We will go over the build breakdown shortly. And for those who enjoy gameplay, agents, after we go over the build breakdown, as usual, I will give you a little bit more gameplay. And in that gameplay, agents, we will be tackling a little bit of legendary content just to show you how powerful this setup is. Not only is it powerful, agents, it is very fun to use, and I recommend you give it a try. I know a lot of people stay away from that Sacrifice chest because they don't want to take that amplified damage, but it is definitely worth it in my opinion. Alright, so to start the show, one of the weapons we will be using is the Ouroboros, and you can attain this right now during the current event that's taking place, the pack event. Agents, you do have, as of me recording this video, you do have over a week left to hopefully obtain this weapon, but as you can see, it is fully maxed out. Some of that damage, keep in mind, is coming from the Memento stacks, and some of the RPM is also coming from the global modifier. Now, as far as the weapon expertise, this gun is fully maxed out with a weapon expertise of 30%. As far as the weapon handling, the accuracy is pretty poor on this gun, but the stability is amazing. And I do have that third attribute roll to 10% damage to target I cover. The talent on this gun, agents, is called Rule Them All. And basically, when the agent has a status effect applied to them, 50% of the ammo in their next magazine will apply the same status effect to their targets. This effect will only occur during combat. And keep in mind the mods on this gun, agents, you cannot change. 10% critical hit damage, 25% increase in load speed, 10% critical hit chance, and a 10% increase in rate of fire. All right, so this the Lexington, you can obtain this right now as well. It does have a higher drop chance. As you can see, it is fully maxed out. What makes this gun truly stand out, agents, is if you pay attention to that yellow total damage, that is what makes this gun unique. It has a higher base damage than most assault rifles. And as you can see, the RPM is up there, and some of that RPM is coming from my gear set as well. This gun is fully maxed out as well with a weapon expertise of 30%, and that third attribute, we do have 10% damage to target out of cover. As far as the weapon handling on this gun is amazing. As you can see, accuracy is pretty good, stability with a really fast reload speed. The talent, now I do have killer up here, agents, but basically we will be using preservation in this build. Some of the gameplay I was using killer, and the majority of the time I was using preservation, and we will go over that shortly. The mods I do have is 5% critical hit chance plus 15 rounds, another 5% critical hit chance, and a 10% critical hit damage mod. All right, so like I was stating, agents, we will be using the preservation talent. And this talent is what's going to allow you to stay alive, agents, and it will get you a lot of armor. Basically, what the preservation talent does is killing the enemy repairs 10% armor over 5 seconds. Headshot kills improve that basically by an additional 10%. So you get up to 20% increase in armor repair whenever you do use the preservation talent. So I definitely recommend using this with the sacrifice chest. Now the Emmeline's Guard, this gun is amazing, agent. I didn't have it in my inventory, but I lucked out. I managed to pick it up during one part of the mission, and this is the perfect preservation talent. And basically killing the enemy repairs 15% armor over 5 seconds. Headshot kills improve that repair by an additional. So with this gun, you essentially can get up to 30% armor repair over 5 seconds. So that's just amazing. I would definitely recommend you use Emmeline's Gardens if you don't have the Ouroboros, or even if you do have the Ouroboros, the Emmeline's Guard will work great. All right, so for this gear set, we do have the 4-piece Strikers Battlegear set on. 2 pieces gives you increase in weapon handling by 15%. 3 pieces gives you 15% increase in rate of fire, and we have all 4 pieces. You get Strikers Gamma. Basically, you keep firing agents. When you get up to 100 stacks, you'll basically be sitting right there, 65% increase in weapon damage. Keep in mind, 1 stack is lost per second between 0 and 50, and 2 stacks are lost between 50 and 100. The core attribute we do have on this mask is the armor core, and the attributes on this build, agents, we were going for critical hit chance or critical hit damage on everything. Now the chest, this is the name Providence Defense chest. It is called a sacrifice. It automatically gives you, 1 piece gives you 13% increase in headshot damage. For the core attribute, we do have armor core, and again, the attributes is going for critical hit chance or critical hit damage. The talent is what is unique. It's called Perfect Glass Cannon. All damage you deal is amplified by 30%, but keep in mind, all damage you take, it will be amplified by 60%. So that is a lot of damage they will be doing to you, so you want to make sure you're moving and ducking whenever you can. All right, for the holster, this is the second piece of the striker set. We do have an armor core for the core attribute and a 12% critical hit damage attribute. For the knees, we do have a weapon damage core for the core attribute and a 6% critical hit chance attribute. And for the gloves, the 4th piece of the striker set, we do have a weapon damage core and a 12% critical hit damage attribute. All right, and for the backpack, it is the Memento backpack, one of the best designers in the game, in my opinion. Basically gives you all 3 cores. That is a weapon, armor, and a skill tier. On top of that, the attribute we do have is a 12% critical hit damage attribute, and the talent is what truly stands out. It's called Kill Confirmed. Enemies you kill drop a trophy on death. Collecting trophies provides both a short and long-term buff. The first one scales with the number of core attributes equipped. So for example, if you got blue, if you got a 5 red cores on your build, each trophy you pick up will give you 25% increase in weapon damage. So that's how that works, agents. But basically, for every trophy you collect, you gain an additional plus 1% weapon damage, plus 1% skill efficiency, and 0.1% armor regeneration for 300 seconds. Basically, when you get up to 30 stacks, that is 30% increase in weapon damage, skill efficiency, and on top of that, 3% armor regeneration. Overall, this is amazing. I would definitely recommend all you solo gamers out there, if you haven't obtained this item, this would be one of the very first ones I would recommend. All right, as far as the skills, we did have the Crusader Shield. That way we get in those situations, give us a little bit of protection. All right, and the skills are the number of blue and yellow cores you have. And also, agents, we will be playing on Legendary, so I do recommend the Revival Hive to give you a second chance to get back up. All right, as far as the global modifier, Divide and Conquer, We did use the Zealot modifier, but let's take a look real quick. As you can see, we only have an increased rate of fire bonus of 16% with 8% current damage bonus. Like I said before, agents, I don't do much retaliation, so I don't really get much benefit from any of that. But imagine this build if I did utilize that and max all that out to that 30% increase in rate of fire and that 30% increase in weapon damage. This build would be hitting a whole lot harder. All right, so with the Zealot modifier, keep in mind, basically it reduces damage, makes you almost immune, but after 10 seconds, you begin losing 1 stack per second, and the stack consumption rate increases every 10 seconds. Keep in mind, whenever you reach 0 stacks, a damaging EMP explosion will occur at your location, and basically it'll take you down to 1 health, but for every enemy you are surrounded, it will give you armor and health back based on the level you are on this chart right here. All right, so we did use Ruthless Tear. When you break any plate on the tank's armor, all other armor plates are broken. When this happens, you apply bleeding to enemies within 15 meters of the target. We did use Stepping Stone, eliminating assaults with headshots adds hollow point ammo. This to your magazine. Hollow point ammo amplifies weapon damage by 20% and applies bleed. So keep that in mind, agents. Our chest is giving us 30%. Whenever we do get this passive bonus here, that's an additional 20%. So that's up to 50% increase in amplified damage at any given moment during your gameplay. And we are utilizing Batter Up. Any grenade within 5 meters of you is destroyed. Does have a cooldown in 30 seconds. And while in cooldown, the radius of your grenades is increased by 100%. As far as the weapon stats, we do have 85,410 on the Ouroboros with a critical hit chance of 53% and 139% critical hit damage. Keep in mind, changing out those mods can give you a little bit more critical hit chance. And we do have a headshot damage of 83%. So as far as the armor, we are sitting right there at 1,519,307 armor with 151,931 armor on the kill. It is showing 0 armor regeneration, but keep in mind, when we do have the stacks from the Memento backpack, we will have 3% armor regeneration as well. So overall, this is amazing build, agents. I recommend you give it a try. It's very powerful. And agents, just because we are using the modifier, you really don't need to use. You don't have to use the modifiers to make this build work. It will work regardless. Keep in mind, the only thing the Zealot modifier does, and then you will notice in the gameplay, I won't even be using it that much because it's very risky. It's almost like a glass cannon. Basically, you will do a lot of damage, but when it ends, you will basically take a lot of damage as well. So it's a high risk, high reward type gameplay. And like I said, you can add a little bit more critical hit chance, and we did right there. We got 59% now on the Ouroboros, and so that is another option to get a little bit more critical hit chance on the build. All right, so we did go with the gunner class specialization. Keep in mind, every third reload is 50% faster. You do get 10% armor back on the kill, and each kill, agents, you get an increased rate of fire by 5% for 5 seconds. Also, remaining motionlessly for at least 1 second gives you increased weapon handling of 10%. And last but not least, don't forget to equip the correct weapon element to get your 15% increase in weapon damage. So, for example, we're using an assault rifle and a SMG. So, you know, that damage can make a difference in your build. One last thing I do want to point out is this is the only class specialization where you will have access to the Banshee Pulse. And that is a great skill as well because it disorients those enemies in your path, and also it can penetrate through cover. Now, one thing I do want to point out, agents, is that if your watch level is at least 1,000, you will be at the baseline of doing the same damage you see me doing in the gameplay. The only other fact that will take place in your build will be your weapon expertise. The current max level is 30%. So in my gameplay, agents, you will see I will be doing a little bit more damage if your weapon expertise is not at least 30%. So that is the only 2 factors that will take place in the game, and that it will play a part in your build. With that being said, agents, stick around. I do got a little bit more gameplay for you, and let me give you a little demonstration in the range, and I will also show you other different variations of this build that are just as powerful. I do really enjoy that preservation talent because it gives you a lot of survivability where if you don't want to use the Memento backpack, you don't have to use it, agents. But as you can see right here, we're at the shooting range. We're getting up to 15 million on this build. This is a very powerful setup, and I do recommend you give it a try. All right, so this setup here, basically what we're going to change out, we're going to have on 4-piece striker. We're going to take out the Memento backpack. We're going to put on and we're going to put on the Overdog gloves. Overall, this is another amazing setup, and we're still going to maintain that preservation on our Lexington to give us some survivability. This hits hard as well. Or you can even change out the Overdog gloves and put on the Exodus gloves as well. That way, if your armor breaks, it give you a little bit a window to get out and get to safety, and also get a little bit of armor back as well. So there are many options that you can use when putting this build together. They're all fun. I know a lot of agents don't really care for using the Memento backpack. With that being said, agents, I'm going to give you a little bit more demonstration at the range. Then we're going to give you some a little bit of gameplay on Legendary to show you how this build works, show you just how powerful it is. And again, keep in mind, agents, say this all the time, you don't need modifiers to make any of these builds work. The Lexington and the Ouroboros has been in this game for the longest. Very powerful weapons, agents. And for those of you who are new, you do have a chance to obtain these items. As of me recording this video, you have over a week left to obtain these items. I recommend you grind the pack rewards, agents, and then there's a high chance you will be able to obtain at least the Lexington. I've got multiple Lexingtons to drop already. Haven't got any of the rare exotics such as the raid weapons or anything. The drop chances on that is very low, and it's not very rewarding. Just with that being said, agents, I really appreciate each and every one of you for your valued time and continued support. And if you're new to the channel, you like the content, please feel free to hit that like, share, and subscribe, and also turn on the notification bell so you can stay informed whenever I do drop videos. All right, agents, Dwerewolf out.
Serious trauma detected.
Negative sideline. Got him. Trying to encircle us. Shit, they got lower men. Aircraft deployed. Enemies on the flank. Damn it! Got a man down. On the target. Taking a lot of heat. Taking contact. Hold on. Get over here. Help me.
Immediate medical assistance needed.